everybody, thanks for watching. My name is Chris. I'm here with Jim, and we're going to pick some NFL games on this Harris After Dark, or whatever it's called. Hi, Jim McCormick. How are you?
Well, hearkening back to our old days. Hello.
Indeed. I thought you were about to say, I asked, how are you? It was an opening for you to say caffeinated.
Oh, yes. Well, like I was explaining, I'm a school teacher now, and Wawa, which is a very Philadelphia product, has provided way too much coffee to my school this week. So I partake, and I don't drink anymore, but I do drink caffeine. Clear.
Yeah. So here we go. Get ready. Buckle up. If you're watching, keep watching. If you're not watching, you don't hear what we're saying, so don't worry about it.
It's a rocket to 500. Okay. So
we're here to pick games. So last week, I don't even know what your record was last week. Mine was 6. I was 6-7-1, and you were 6-9-1.
How? We picked all different games. How did this happen?
We overlapped on just a couple, and those are the ones we got flat out wrong.
Right.
That's hard to believe, but
it is.
I mean, let's face it. Dave Piper did a silliest thing video, which hopefully somewhere right now he's linking to, in which I just received the biggest joke win of the world, which is Sean McVay gonna get his kneecaps broken by somebody for kicking a field goal down 10 with 4 seconds left in the game.
I mean, I feel like I don't even want to connect this to the Cam Akers thing, but somehow there's some legacy where like somebody sees somebody. Like that was incredible. That game. It really was the cover of all covers. Al Michaels was even verklempt. So
yeah, that was a speechless moment. And the funny thing is, I was watching it live. The announcer didn't really say anything. I'm like, dude, that's the only reason anybody's still watching. So, all right. Well, we're going to pick every game in week 3. We're against the spread. Of course, spreads change, and we're recording this, several days in advance of the games. But, bear with us. It's the best we can do. We're sponsored by DraftKings, and we'll talk a little bit more about DraftKings in a little bit. We really do thank them, though, because this is a fun, extra little bonus podcast that you get to see our faces, and we do. And if it wasn't for DraftKings, we wouldn't get to do it. So we are very, very thankful about DraftKings. Let's give credit where credit's due to one of the commenters, one of our loyal watchers, JTZ123. Not only picked the Buccaneers, as did I. I believe that's one where I got it right and you got it wrong. But he also guaranteed guaranteed in the comments that they would win by double digits, and they won by double digits. So this is a pretty good call.
Well, I mean, clearly a State Farm fan, right? I mean, just all the loyalties in the Baker Mayfield pie. So it's just that's how that works. Like, I mean,
I wasn't with you, but then I was with you after you explained it. I got it.
Yeah, I mean,
woo,
yeah.
Caffeine's a hell of a drug.
We're there. Yeah.
So we're gonna go through all of these games. We are hopefully not going to stress me out by having quite so many differences of opinion this week as we did last. As it turned out, neither one of us worked. I gotta say one thing about before we get to the games, your record from last week. There's a little bit of blood on one of your predictions from last week. Can you imagine which one I'm gonna say has a little bit of blood on it?
But here's the thing.
You know where I'm going.
No, but here's the thing. I'm known to string out long sentences. This sentence was just 2 shows long. Okay, it was an extended. See, you can't hear an ellipses, right? You can't see it. I was ... Like, and
which game? Which game am I talking about?
I'm talking about the Patriots versus the Dolphins. I was confident in the sense that I was confident that I couldn't find what pick I had, and I was like Dolphins. And then the absolute next day, with a prepared show and a shot list, I was also told not to mention the Eagles, and I mentioned them. So a lot of things happened. Okay, we're forgiving each other. This is. We're friends. Let
me bring it back, because nobody but me has any idea what you're talking about. Last week on this show, your most confident pick was Dolphins to cover in New England, which turned out to be a correct pick. It was your most confident pick. You're 2-0 in confidence picks. You're a genius. People should be betting on your confidence picks. Except the next day you appeared on the podcast, and I asked you for the most confident pick, and you picked the Patriots.
I feel like one of them is more popular than the other, and that's not great, And I don't mean the Dolphins or the Patriots. I mean the shows, and that's not great, right?
There's blood on this pick. You're gonna get credit. I'm sure Piper gave you a win, but my correct bet was the outrage bet of the Cardinals, which I don't think you texted me in the middle of it like the comeback is coming, and the Giants may win this game, but there's no way the Giants are going to cover, and they did not. So
the best was how quickly they settled for like middling the field. I was like,
yeah,
as if this was a team that should be like trusting a kicker. You know what I'm saying? Like meaning like as if they couldn't finish. It was hysterical.
Yeah. All right, so we got both of our confident bets last week, correct? Let's start it out with the Thursday night game. The aforementioned New York Giants did not travel back to the East Coast. They've stayed west because they are going to play another team out here, and they're taking a step up in weight class. They were, a 5.5-point road favorite, incorrectly, last week, and now they are facing the 49ers, and they are a 10-point underdog. Who you got?
I think it's a 10 exactly, but I'm not going to take the Chris route and just leave this because it's the 49ers like you are giving 10, but I just felt like this should be 13, but I didn't say that. But here's the reason I said that. If you didn't watch last season, this would have been 13. Like if you just watched this season and didn't account for the Wink Martindale success and the Daniel Jones revival, what I'm trying to say is there's still some latency, I think, with this Giants will show up. I don't know, man. I think this Giants team's bad. So I'm going to take the Niners.
I'm on the Niners too. I set it at 12. The Niners are going to get tested along the road because they are a particular kind of Kyle Shanahan on offense. And there are some defensive coordinators who are smart and know what to do against that offense. And I know you like Wink Martindale a lot. I don't think he's one of them, and I don't think they're going to slow them down at all. I think they can almost name a number against that Giant defense with the rookie corners, and I think it might be the worst defense I've seen so far through two games. It's a small sample size. Things can change. Maybe the rookies get better, but I am with you. We are both on the 49ers to win big against the Giants. Okay, let's get to the main slate, the early games on Sunday. First up, Falcons at Lions. Of course, the Falcons are undefeated. Of course, they're 2-0. I think you picked the Falcons over the Packers last week with the points, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I had the Packers. I was wrong.
Sure.
The Lions are 3.5-point favorites at home. What do you think?
Well, at some point, I feel a little Wentzsy with this Love thing. Not to say that he's Carson Wentz, but it's very TD dependent. It's all this like high TD rate. I'm not sure that like Love's good yet. And so I have this at -3 Detroit. So that actually means I'm taking Atlanta because I think that the Lions defense is just booty. They made Geno Smith look like good Geno Smith. So that's all I got to say.
It's weird, though, because they played well against Kansas City in that opener. We all thought, wow, that pass rush. It may just turn out that Kansas City, by the transitive property, it may turn out, because I agree with you, they did not play well in defense last week. So the transitive property may just mean that Kansas City's offense is kind of just meh. I also set this at 3. So I am also on the Falcons plus 3.5. Clearly, neither one of us feeling like it's any kind of best bet for the week. I mentioned, was it last week? Was it 2 weeks ago? The theory that goes around, there's so many systems for how you're supposed to pick games. But one system that I've had several people who do this, a lot more than I do, tell me is like they just always bet against the team that has the Thursday game the next week. In other words, after this game, 4 games later, they're going to be playing, and it's Lions, Packers next Thursday. So maybe that's a reason to say Falcons. Also, I don't know. I don't know what you feel like when it's 3.5 and you're laying the points. Like it seems like they're asking you to take the favorite at 3.5, but like I don't know.
Yeah, I get confused by the cool terms like hook and stuff. I'm like, yeah, the hook, but like
by the hook.
Yeah, no. But
we don't have to buy the hook. We're getting the hook for free.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Exactly. So but in there for this game, I just feel like there's styles make fights kind of thing, and I just think they can lay on them. I think Atlanta could just own the ball kind of thing. So it's not going to be Jared Goff having fun. And more importantly, I don't know enough about these teams to think that one of them should be so much clearly better than the other. So yeah.
Fair. I mean, it's a half-point difference. So we're basically saying we don't know. We think it's kind of a close game. Yeah,
so I'm going to edge with the points is what I mean. In that
You're
sense.
Edging? Oh, I don't want to hear about that.
Oh my God, that's a whole different conversation. That's actually when you win a Jerome Ford fab. That's edging. So,
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Absolutely got it. I don't feel like that's a greatest seg to our sponsor, but let's talk about DraftKings a little bit. If you watch every week and you laugh at how ridiculous we are, we would love it if you played along with us. If you're in one of those states where you're allowed to use the DraftKings Sportsbook, if you haven't yet, download that DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up using the code HarrisTube, make one $5 bet, just one $5 bet, and you get $200 in bonus bets put into your account immediately. Not only that, but throughout September, like a lot of you watching already have a DraftKings account. If you make sure you log in on game days, on Thursdays, on Sundays, on Mondays, because they have like 2 separate little promotions all through September for people who already have accounts. So it's not just new accounts who benefit. There are going to be ways to get bonus bets, ways to get free parlays, stuff like that every game day. Again, it sounds cheesy. They're a giant corporation, but for as long as I've been on my own since I left ESPN, DraftKings is like the one sponsor that's been with me the whole time. I know people at the company. I really like them. It doesn't mean anything to you, but this is genuine. This is not like a sellout thing. It's a little bit of a sellout thing. I mean, they pay me money, but I'm very happy with DraftKings, and we're really fortunate that they support the show. So if you could use the code HarrisTube, we'd appreciate it. Hand raised.
Yeah, can I add to that real quick? Something for advice with people who can play DraftKings, because I know you're in a state that isn't eligible.
Not a mental state. It's California.
I've had a really great experience using the top bar promotions recently. Like, just fun stuff. Like, they made even money last week on Jalen Waddle's over, but they lowered it. So it was like 54.5 yards over at plus money. So there are some fun things if you look at that top bar. Like, it's just, especially early in the season, they want to invite you to come in, but it can be really fun and rewarding. It's not a free bet, but like there are some lower risk thresholds that I think are fun.
Right, which is a way of saying that everybody who already has an account, just on game day, even if you've already made a bet or two, log in on game day, because they are giving promotional bets that are like not real fair lines, and go through that top bar. So anyway, lovely, thank you, DraftKings. All right, let's keep going. I think I probably have said with you, whether it was when we did the show on the podcast or now that we've been doing YouTube, at some point, I know I've said the words to you. Aren't the Chargers and the Vikings the same team? Aren't the Chargers the Vikings of the AFC? Aren't the Vikings the Chargers of the NFC? Aren't they like way better talent than they ever perform? They don't win Super Bowls. They just like, why aren't you better, dude? And they just never are. But they're playing each other, so someone's going to win, presumably. The Vikings at home are a 1-point favorite over the Chargers.
I feel like it was either you or Dave who installed spyware, because that's like the exact thing. That's my exact premise of my whole joke was that.
Oh, damn. I ruined it.
And my whole thing was that the only difference is that like one city has fish tacos. Like, so the other just has like, I guess they have like oily cod or whatever's up there in Minnesota. No disrespect, but just it can't be as good as San Diego, right? So either way, is this fire Brandon Staley week? Is this fire Brandon Staley week?
Especially if he thinks the Chargers play in San Diego, he should really go. Yeah,
I love Minnesota. I'm just trying to say just different qualities of fish tacos.
You understand they don't live in San Diego anymore. You understand that, right?
Los Angeles. Still fish tacos, mahi.
Hey man, we absolutely have fish tacos everywhere. I got a food truck right outside the yacht. It serves fish tacos. You're 100% right.
He actually, yes. So, but seriously, I think that Brandon Staley gives his pregame speeches while eating Lunchables, and it just throws everything off because they're so confused why he doesn't eat the Oreo and he can't stab the Capri Sun. Dave gets this. So either way, my point is, I have to take the Vikings. I don't even want to, but I just can't trust. I know it's 0-3, but it's fire Brandon Staley week.
I'm so on the Vikings here. I don't understand. I kind of don't understand the line a little bit.
So yeah, sorry.
What's that?
You've been on them. Like we were in them preseason, and you've continued to trust that they're better than the Chargers.
Incorrectly, as it turns out. I mean, the Eagle game was its own thing, and like. I think they played pretty well in that game.
It was volatile. Yes.
Probably just got beaten by a slightly better team, and I don't like. I think that offense is going to move it, and sure, the Chargers are probably going to move it too. It's probably a high-scoring game. I just trust the whole operation more. I just think about the coaches. I think about the front office. I think about everything. I just trust the operation more in Minnesota. I feel pretty strongly like I'm on your side. Are we going to go like 16 for 16, loving each other here and finding out the same?
Not that, but I was interested because I saw from somebody about the Chubb thing, and like somebody from a sports book. I think it was from somebody from like I forget, but somebody from ESPN that used to work at ESPN now works at Vivid Sports. Posted a thing about how Nick Chubb was like one of the top when he talked to bookmakers was one of like the larger influences. 0.85 points on a swing. I don't know what that means, but it was some quantification he came with. What's Austin Eckler is my point. Like meaning like his absence seems likely. So I'm just wondering like how do we quantify skill player stuff? It's just a question.
Yeah, he's not 0.85 though. He's not Nick Chubb. He's he doesn't dominate.
Yeah.
He doesn't
control games or own the ball.
Dictate
right,
games.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, like Eckler, yeah. But yeah, I mean, as of our recording this, we actually don't know for sure what Eckler's deal is. It seems like from our perspective now, but yeah. But yeah, you're right. Like essentially they're saying the Chargers are a favorite on a neutral field, which I do not agree with. Neither do you. All right. The Saints are visiting the aforementioned Packers, who also have the curse of the next Thursday night, which is fake and not probably real, but let's just pretend. The line is now Packers -2.5. That's actually a slight line move towards the Saints since it opened at 3. So somebody liked what they saw on Monday night because that open happened before the Monday night game. I think we think these two defenses are pretty good. And the line right now is Green Bay -2.5.
Yeah, they're very different. Like the one is just young, the Packers, and and the one is just old, knows who they are, the Saints. I just don't. Again, this is not so similar to like say the last game we just talked about in the sense of the Chargers and the Vikings. I don't see the differentiation so much that it requires a 2.5 point line or even a 3 point opening line. I had this at -1 Green Bay. I still think they're home favorites, but I'm taking the Saints. I think it's looked kind of ugly with the Saints in terms of how they're moving the ball, but it's still actually like they still have like options. I still think they have enough depth in their offense, and more importantly, I don't care about running backs. So like meaning whether it's Kendre Miller or whoever, I think they're going to be able to move the ball, and more importantly, I think there's a little bit of inflation with this Packers offense with regards to how they're scoring touchdowns, even though the ball isn't moving as well. The ball's not moving as well as the touchdown rate, if that makes sense.
It makes sense, and I probably agree with that. But if I were to judge which offense I think looks better, I would still say Green Bay over New Orleans.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's fair that nobody has an Olave in Green Bay, and that is like a player, a game wrecker. I mean, you talked about you don't care if they have a running back. Sure, they do. It's Taysom Hill. But I would probably vote Green Bay. Now, I grant you that they have not faced like the murderer's row of defenses, and they lost to Atlanta last week. But they had that game completely in hand, and just Green Bay. If there's a weakness here, maybe it's the defense is overrated because they just kind of wilted in that fourth quarter. Like that was in hand, and then suddenly it was completely out of hand, and the offense didn't really even do anything wrong. They punted once, and suddenly Atlanta launched these long drives. Anyway, I'm not saying I think it's a bad line or anything like that. I said it exactly where it opened. I said it at 3, and now it's 2.5, and now I get to be the sucker who is like, well, they're going to at least beat them by 3, right? That's what the books are trying to tell you. So I'm the sucker, but I will be on a different side as Jim. Yes, we are going back. So I'm going to be on the Packers.
Not week 2.
Houston at Jacksonville. Can I just say that the Texans are somehow being like kind of overrated? Like people, at least for fantasy, people are going crazy. People are like, well, how is Nico Collins not a top 20 receiver? How is Tank Dell not a top 30 receiver? Have you seen these numbers? And I'm like, well, yeah, dude, they're losing by 80 points and they're just throwing the ball like crazy. Yeah. The Vegas seems to understand because Jacksonville, despite a very uninspiring offensive output last week, they're still a 9.5 point favorite at home against Houston.
Yeah, so I wrote this at 10. I was expecting to see like a larger gap in terms of the respect. I thought there was going to be more respect for Houston with regard to like the D'Amico Ryans thing, and I guess how they played. I guess the Ravens for like 35 minutes.
They did. They played much better on defense. Boy, they were awful on defense last week. They were awful.
Right, but I suppose at some point we have to start recognizing that like maybe like the Ravens had no idea what they were doing that first week. I am blurry.
Yeah. Hard to say. Yeah. You're good. You're fine.
So that being said, I had this at 10. I thought I was gonna be off, but I'm gonna assume the multi-billion-dollar companies are just correct, and I might be wrong. So just throwing it out there.
Does that mean which team does that mean you're on?
No, sure, but I'm taking the Jaguars.
You got the wires.
I got the Wires. First of all,
You got the wires.
there's been further confirmation that the Wires might be what kids are calling it. So just throwing it out there. So
Somebody hit me up on Twitter and said, "You sound like an old man when you say wires." Oh, okay.
You
Thanks,
and your
Twitter.
stop pronouncing
Angry.
things correctly. That's not cool.
Angry Twitter person. I'm on Jacksonville too. I also set this line at 10. You can actually get this some places at 8.5 and not 9.5. DraftKings, as of our recording this, has it at 9.5. And obviously it's different juice, but I've seen it. I think you're fine.
Okay,
Ben.
sorry.
You've been fine the whole time. It's the caffeine. It's making your eyeballs jitter.
No, it's what I see. I'm seeing. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, your eyeballs are jittering because of the caffeine. So anyway, you can get it at 8.5. You should shop it around if you have the ability to, but we're both on Jacksonville. Okay. The Broncos are going to Miami as, what's it called? Total mess.
Mm-hmm.
I watched that game live, dude, the Commanders game in Denver, and I just can't even understand what the hell happened. They were absolutely dominating. Russell Wilson had made 2 giant pass plays and they were up 21-3 or whatever it was. And I was castigating myself for watching it. I was like, you're wasting a live view. You should have watched something else. And then I don't know. Have you watched that game?
Well, for one, I need a thesaurus to catch up with this stuff, castigating. I thought castrating was what you said. I was like, what? And then I thought about Russell Wilson and Ciara, and that sounds extreme. But I did watch that game, and it was 2 games essentially, right? It was like
what happened?
I'm
okay. I understand about the Denver offense. I know what's going on. I can put my finger on what's going on. Russell Wilson is in his own head and hesitant and not running plays the way they're supposed to be run. And that was the same thing as last year. Mm-hmm. And what we're finding out is that away from a very specific system, his brain might not work fast enough. Right. That's okay. What the hell happened on defense? That's supposed to be a good defense.
Yeah, exactly. So the problem there is they not only they lose contain, they just stopped. Their safeties were going downhill on passing plays. 3rd and 18, they were crashing the box. And I was like, what is Justin Simmons doing? You're right. The entire game plan went out. But I really think what happened is at halftime, Sean Payton has a burner account and just started tweeting about how great he is. There has to be something going on because, how can you actually say the things that he said and then have this happen? It's not allowed. It's just not allowed.
Yeah, he's a genius.
That being said, I have this Miami minus 6.5. I wanted to set it at 7, but I just thought I was reading the Vegas hook. But really, if Sam Howell looked like Tua, then what's Tua going to look like? Right?
Yeah. Tua is, Sam Howell probably didn't look like Tua, but he did play better.
What I mean by that is he looked like he was finding people open. Yeah.
Yeah. Better. I don't understand the Denver defense, but I'm going to take advantage of what I saw of the Denver defense last week in that second half. So I'm going to be with you on the Dolphins. Nobody's shocked. I'm the world's biggest neutral Dolphins guy. I just believe that team is pretty damn good. I'm not sure it's the best team, but I think it's good. When I see it at 6, I do go, okay. That's what they're begging you to take the Dolphins. It's trappy. Yes. But I set it at 8, so I am also on Miami. Tennessee at Cleveland. This is the post Nick Chubb era. Kareem Hunt returns to Cleveland. I would assume that he's not going to play that much, not be that big of a factor. This is Jerome Ford's act for the moment, and he's a good player. And for me, the tension post Chubb with Cleveland comes down to Deshaun Watson kind of stinks in this Stefanski system.
Yes.
He's being asked to run power football. He's being asked to make full field reads. He's not really very good at it. I can hear producer Dave sighing in my ear. You guys can't hear that, but he's a Browns fan and he sees it too. The big tension here is will Stefanski give in? Because the truth is when they went hurry up, when they went quick game, when they went shotgun against the Steelers, the offense looked much, much better. And I wonder if maybe there's some of that coming. I don't know that they have the offensive line for it because that's a power big, not a super mobile offensive line. But it feels to me like they got to try something different. Anyway, that's my little sermon. The Browns have a really good defense. The Titans have an underrated defense. The Browns are home. They're having to give 3 points.
Yeah, sounds like a depressed Labrador. I get the producer, that is. I get the whole dog pound thing. It's just a bunch of breathing. It's exhales, but they're not like exhausted or like I just ran around and chased a ball. It's more like I am a fan of the Browns and I hear it in its exhale. Either way, I had this pretty close to everything. I had this actually -4 Cleveland.
Okay.
And so I'm riding with Cleveland. I understand that, like, philosophically, I actually want to fade Cleveland because of what Deshaun looks like, but I still think the defense is good enough. And I think that line is so good between Zadarius Smith and between Garrett and between like how, like, even like Ward, like what they've done on the outside. I think they can, like, I don't know if Tennessee has the elements to punish them the way that maybe other teams will. Punish the way, like, not to say that.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I kind of think I'm on Cleveland too.
Sure.
I said it at 5. I'm agreeing with you.
Go ahead.
But I kind of think they might have the exact formula to beat.
Oh, Derrick Henry own you
to beat that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
That's what Zadarius Smith doesn't want. You know, he's much
like
more
little. Yes, 255. Yeah.
Right. So that's where my worry of this game is, that if it goes wrong, it probably goes wrong because Tennessee's able to just kind of control it. But no, I mean, if there's one outstanding unit on the field, it's the Cleveland defense.
That's what I mean. It's the best unit
I'm not
going to
fade
them.
them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fade them. Are you concerned at all that we have only one pick different?
Oh no, I'm just going to start picking. I want to hear what you say. I'm just going to start countering just because at some point somebody's got to win the back of the cereal prize. Okay, I'm going to win the Carnation magnifying glass. Okay, let's do this. I'm old.
All right, we have the Bills. I foolishly doubted Josh Allen, and we made the thumbnail of the video. Could Josh Allen secretly stink? And that he did not stink in the game. But I will say.
He looked crazy. He looked crazy in week. He looked crazy. It's not crazy to doubt him. He looked like he was running from mall security the week before.
In week 1, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, you're right. We can't doubt that take. We can only say what we saw, and what we saw in week 2 was the thing that all the moles, all the the mouthpieces, all this is going to be a different Josh Allen. This is going to be the safe guy. He's going to stay healthier by not running unnecessarily. He's going to run out of bounds. And he did it. For 1 week against the Commanders.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, against the Raiders, he did it. And I think that's growth. That's great. That's growth. All the Bills fan can get off my back. That is growth. That is growth. They are going to DC. They are 6.5-point favorites on the road against the undefeated Commanders.
Oh, undefeated, yes. I have this at -7. So again, one of these tight lines. Buffalo feasted on Las Vegas. Somehow, we'll talk about this later, but I want to know what implications this has for Pittsburgh being a dog against that same team, but we'll talk about that later. But the point being, I just think, like, yes, they woke up, and I guess we'll also be able to have this discussion about Seattle in the sense that, like, there were such kind of disparate or different performances between these offenses, meaning Buffalo looked terrible in week 1, and then last week they looked exactly like the Buffalo that like supporters would have expected. My point being, I think that's more of who they are, even though they have their flaws, particularly against a defense like this, who's very heavy up front. But I really don't trust their back 7. I just think they're going to be able to get it to Diggs and get it to Davis and move the ball. So, More importantly, Sam Howell, I just trust the better offense. So
we're on the same team. I'm going to give it once again, feels like we're on the maybe fishier side of the line.
Might not be good for us, by the way. It's just
I know to be together. Yeah, honestly, again, if there's something that can wreck it here, it is the pass rush.
Yes,
like
Young's back, which I didn't expect. Chase Young had 1.5 sacks. Like that's his most in his career.
Right. So like that's the thing that could wreck it. The thing that could wreck it is the defensive line, because the back end doesn't scare you. But that's going to be the fun side of the ball to watch. Watching Josh Allen match up against that defensive line, like I'm really looking forward to seeing that. And when it's flipped, I'll just change the channel, except I can't change the channel. That's always one problem with my job, the way I've constructed it myself. My own self-constructed prison in which I have to watch 16 football games by Tuesday morning is that I can't really change the channel. I got to watch the whole thing.
It's just a bunch of possums. It's a bunch of possums.
It's a lot of possums sitting around, man.
And the rocking of the water. It's just swaying.
It's not the greatest. But when the Commanders have the ball, I don't trust Sam Howell at all. I know he looked better. I don't trust him. So that's where I come down. I really am interested to see whether the Commanders can stop the Bills. I tend to think not, and that's why I also will give the points on the fishy side of the line. All right. The Colts are going to is there still a revenge game when the Colts visit Baltimore? Are there still like 75-year-old people going, "Oh, I hate you, Art Modell"?
Again, you're in my Word document. This is the battle. This is the battle of the Mayflower move. I actually wrote an article for the Washington Post, crazy, about the Mayflower move like 15 years ago. It was
15 years ago. Oh my God.
I really did. It was 1983, the Mayflower move. They just took the team in the middle of the night, and it's called the Mayflower move because the Mayflower Moving Company, there was these trucks, and the morning of the Baltimore Sun that morning was like, hey, we don't have a football team. So,
I mean, the reason that you and I both thought of that as our lead-in is that
I also then wrote about John Elway not wanting to be with them. So that being said, I had this at -7, and somehow I'm taking the Colts. Even with Gardner Minshew's ironic mustache, whoever it is, we are the worst. I don't like taking points. I don't want to take these points. I want to give the points. But the rules are the rules.
Jim, I'm touching my forehead because I had this at 7, and
you're a huge Zach Moss guy, so I get it. Like, you're a monster.
What's interesting is that the market seems to the market seems to agree with us. The market this game opened at 8.5, and pretty quickly dropped a point. So there seemed to be some motion for the Colts. I agree with you. This is not an Anthony Richardson game. I would hate to see him start. I think they're just going to play it safe.
I don't think either. Yeah, I think we've learned that shouldn't happen. Yeah.
No, because it's the Tua thing. Like, please give him time off. Minshew is Baker Mayfield with a mustache. Can Baker Mayfield grow a mustache?
Well, we're going to find out. Yeah, we're going to find out. It depends.
We are?
Well, yeah, because Long John Silver's it has a contest down there to see who can grow the longest mustache, and he's in on it. So
I don't think that's true. I think that's fiction.
No, it's tartar sauce. They get paid in tartar sauce. Just watch.
Heaven knows that's how DraftKings is paying us for this. So yeah, I'm also on the Colts. I think the thought. I mean, I had it at 7. It's 7.5. I'm not.
I did too. It's terrible. What are we doing?
I'm not. But I'm not. But that means I'm not telling you. And here's the case of why the Colts. No, the Ravens are better, and I think are going to win the game. But the reason I set the line where I set it is that the Colts defense is really good. All of a sudden, it's good. Again, you can say it's Jacksonville, it's Houston. Yeah. Maybe it's not. But I don't think Baltimore's offense is elite. Shaq Leonard being back, and I kind of believe.
Weird component that I'm not sure is added up is that Shane Steichen was in the room the last 2 years with Minshew. So what I mean is it's not exactly some new backup. It's at least the guy who's been in his room and with his book. So I know he's a backup, and I know he's not good, but he does have now almost 2 full years with this guy's book, and he's going to run just a normal conservative system. So that's my point. So yeah.
That's really interesting that you say that. You're right that the Colts probably will want to run the way the Eagles have played.
It's the way the Eagles played
week 2.
Where are they?
Yeah, very similar. But it's interesting because taming Minshew's wild man, hair on fire style has been the problem. That's why he's been on so many teams, is that when he plays, he doesn't seem able to do that. So I'm interested to see if he is able to do that. Okay, Patriots, the footy pajama Patriots, they catch a break because they were potentially looking 0-4 right in the mug because they have the Cowboys next week. If this was Aaron Rodgers, they would not be road favorites. I'll tell you that right now. But they get Zach Wilson. The Patriots haven't done a lot to make themselves be a road favorite, but they are a 3-point favorite in New York.
And not only that, can you imagine how many blocks of content First Take lost this week? Just not having Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Not being able to play up like ayahuasca stories and dark rooms and I can't feel my face. Those kind of stories. Those Aaron Rodgers stories.
If Bill Belichick took ayahuasca, what do you think he'd see?
He would see a big dragon of Tom Brady and then Ben Watson running down to tackle him at the 2-yard line. So
wow, that's really specific. It's I like it. It's great.
It's the greatest moments of his life and his greatest fears all in one. So I had this at -4 Patriots. I mean, right? The defensive scheme, Zach Wilson. I mean, Zach Wilson obviously has an android. What's going on here?
in the group text, as we like to say, in the group
It's just
text.
like, and they've been telling him for years, and he's like,
Zach Wilson screen.
What?
So what do you mean? My text show up a different color? Zach,
and
we've been telling you for 8 years.
They say that, and he just sends a selfie. That's his only response. It's just a selfie.
I got my one coward game. I said it right at 3, so I'm out on this game. Yeah. I will be watching it, but I am out on it. All right,
deferred greatness. I think we should call those deferred greatness. Okay.
Deferred greatness. That's right. Mac Jones. That's the subtitle. Deferred greatness. The Mac Jones story. Yeah. Late games. Carolina. Boy, did Bryce Young look bad on national TV. He didn't look great in week 1, but he looked. Oh my God. I mean, okay, we're going to make all these caveats for CJ Stroud. It's been a lot of garbage time. I don't really even believe the numbers that CJ Stroud has put up, but just in terms of how professional he's looked, right, and how he understands what's going on, and when there are open receivers, he gets them and stuff. Like, boy, right now through 2 weeks, I mean, we're 3 years too early to make a judgment, but I'm a little worried about Bryce Young. They go to Seattle. Yeah. The Seahawks are a 6-point favorite, and it's the rare line move this week where the bettors it's open at 5.5, so it's actually bumped up to 6 since the open.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting like early '90s movies vibes from Bryce Young, like where like a little kid is vaulted into being a starting quarterback because his dad bought the team. Like it's just like it's crazy. He's like imagining the Cubs and he's starting for the Panthers. It's like, this is too much, Bryce. Okay, you choose one of them. Okay.
That might be Belichick's ayahuasca dream.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. Exactly. Or he's suddenly coaching Wesley Lacrosse or something ridiculous, right? Because that's an inside joke for the Belichick fans. Or Navy, if you want to get really weird and start talking about Steve Belichick. But either way, I'm going to get into this. I had this at Pumpkin or Not. Geno Smith really looked good last week. And I know that like there's this idea like, who is he? He's volatile. And the last half of the season last year, he looked pretty Geno-ish in the bad way. But he looked really good last week. Everything worked. DK was really close to having a touchdown. Obviously, we had the 2 scores. But the point is, it looked like it was making sense. Kenneth Walker looked like Jerome Bettis. And I don't mean good Jerome Bettis. I mean bad Jerome Bettis. But he's still 15 yards and 2 touchdowns. Sign me up. I have this at -8 Seattle.
Also -8 Seattle.
Cover. Yeah.
Not only are we on the same side of every game but one so far, but we're coming with the same numbers. I mean, we've been doing this too long together, obviously.
Danger.
Yeah, big danger. Okay, the Bears are going to the Chiefs. Nick Whalen, who is a draft guest of ours, who's done work on this channel, awesome. Who's freaking awesome. And he's taken it upon himself this year. He's going to break down every Justin Fields throw because he's a Bears fan. He wants to know. And so he did. He has a video. It's an hour and 15 minutes from week 2. And I watched the whole thing. I fast forwarded a couple times, but I linked to it on Twitter. So, and Dave, maybe you could make a note to put a link to it somewhere in the show notes or something. Obviously, I think you have to be a Bears fan to really want to watch it. But what I loved is that I came out and on the podcast did say out loud that I didn't think Justin Fields was that bad. I did not find him responsible. I think the receivers made so many mistakes. Right. Chase Claypool is just running around out there. Like, I don't think he knows what he's doing. And clearly they have major offensive line problems, but those problems aforementioned are not going away just because I think Fields played better than maybe the world thinks. Clearly the world is not interested in the Bears going to Kansas City because they are 12.5-point underdogs.
Yeah, I had this at a full 2 touchdowns. I had this at a 14 spot. So I'm a point and a half. I'm had a point and a half off here. But here's the thing. I have to bring this up. This is not written down. Watching and judging every Justin Fields throw is like monitoring every like roast beef slider at Arby's. It's like what I'm saying is like, so my job today is to, it's something. It's like I'm judging how greasy this is or how bad this is. And this guy, it can't be good. Like what I'm saying is like, what a tough.
Really, Jim, I'm shocked you didn't write that down.
I did not write that down. Or whatever you want to say. It's grading some ridiculous stuff. It's like.
Why? He's the young quarterback of his favorite team, and he wants to know if he can play.
No. I respect the process. I'm just saying it's akin to making sure that I don't know, man. I'm out of here. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I respect it, and I think it's actually useful. So I'll be continuing to tune in.
I didn't mean it that way. I meant it's a difficult job. That's what I meant.
It's difficult.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean it's useless. I meant he's quality controlling a bad product is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I don't think we agree that it's a bad product. I think I mean, the Bears might be a bad product, but I think Fields played okay.
It's like it's like checking tropical Skittles. They all suck. You know what I mean?
All right, man. Well, we agree to disagree. I thought Fields was okay in that game.
Well, the purple's terrible. Can we agree the purple's terrible? It's terrible.
I don't eat a lot of Skittles in my life. I don't have small children, so Skittles just aren't lying around.
I'm an adult. I am excluding my fatherhood. Okay, jeez.
All right.
Okay.
Would you say if you didn't have young daughters that you wouldn't have Skittles lying around?
What? You've been me so many times. Like, I have a Skittles tattoo on the small of my back. So, okay.
That's true. I've seen that.
Whoa.
This is opened at 13.5 and quickly moved to 12.5, which is interesting. Line moves aren't always.
Is that the current line? 12.5? Just to be clear.
The line is 12.5. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So you're at 14. So you're going to be on the Chiefs. I'm going to be on the Bears. I thought it was 9. I get it. Probably the Chiefs just romp, but weren't they going to romp last week as a big road favorite? And maybe the offense is just a different offense now. It's one that I don't feel great about, but it's the kind of thing that sometimes if I feel like early in the season, people are still betting as though a team is what it was. And I'm seeing that maybe it's not. And I don't think it's been determined that it's not at all, but I don't know. Didn't we just say the Lions defense looked like home wreckers against the Chiefs week 1 and then we're terrible against Seattle? And you're raising your hand again. This is definitely grammar school that's coming out in you.
Oh, no, what I meant was because sometimes we transition to the next game. I just wanted to say one more thing about this game, which with respect to the fact that, isn't there something to be said about the fact that, not only is this one team due, but the fact is just that, this just seems like the type of game that can get out of hand quick because of the styles make fights kind of thing. I'm just not sure Chicago is built to come back. That's why I think it's requisite. So or appropriate.
Fine. I mean, I'm not saying it. I don't feel great about it, but I'm picking every game except for one. So I'm going to take the Bears plus 12.5. And let's move on to the next giant point spread, the last of the giant point spreads. The Cowboys are going to play the Cardinals, and man, the Cardinals could have won that game, and I think this line would be different. Right now at DraftKings, as of our recording this, it's plus 11.5. Some places, though, it's plus 12.5. So I think it's clear which way the market tends to be going. The Cowboys are being graded as one of the best teams in the league. I just wish the Cardinals had hung on. I would have liked to have seen what this line would be. They played. The Giants stink, but they played very well for, like you said, 2.5, almost 3 quarters. They're winning by multiple touchdowns at the end of the third quarter. I'll say it again. I mean, I'm just going to judge it based on what I see. And through 2 games, the Cardinal defense has been pretty good, and then they just got tired.
Yeah, and they're aggressive, and they are sending blitzes, which, I don't know, man. I just want to throw it out there. You could have done that in the Super Bowl, buddy. You could have tried something exotic. No, but you know what? At the same time, regardless of that, he is throwing everything at the wall. This defense is throwing everything at the wall. But at the same time, I just had this minus 13. Not to repeat the last game. I just did because I do think there's multiple ways that the Dallas wins. It's not just. It's whereas Kansas City, I feel has to play their offense to get their outcomes. Whereas I just think there's even ways we saw last week where Dak can just be managing. He's been great, but I'm just saying he can manage and still be up 20 just because there's multiple ways with this Dan Quinn defense. And Micah Parsons, if no one's noticed, is the best player in the league right now. So
I mean,
he's right there. I'm saying he's game wrecking right now. So
I'm going to take Arizona. And I some places you can get it. I had it at 10.
Okay.
On the road. I mean, Kansas City's at home, right?
Sure. You mean I get Dallas? I'm sorry.
Kansas City's at home, Dallas on the road. So the last game.
Oh, right.
I understand the line being a little bigger. Here, I got to take away a couple points.
Right.
That's typically the way we do it. No problem. Again, I want you to play on DraftKings, but if you like Arizona, you can maybe shop it and get 12.5 somewhere else. Listen, when we talk huge spreads and you take the underdog, you don't want to sound like you're making a case that you think they're going to win the game. You're just making a case that there's so many things that can get weird so that they can lose. They can lose by 10. They were down 27, but then the Cowboys pulled the ripcord and stupid Cardinals did. There's a lot. Everybody knows there's a lot of ways for a big underdog.
We forget they have NFL players, I suppose.
They do.
If that makes sense.
And my point
is,
is,
you know what I mean? Like they have guys who can make plays.
My point is that James Conner has been their best player, and like, I don't know. I saw him run against Washington. We just got talking about how Washington's defensive front is good.
He's got good hair too.
That's actually, I forgot to say that's the main reason why I'm picking them.
It's like an unintentional Caesar. I've never had an unintentional Caesar. It's like George Clooney. So, sorry.
All right. And then the defense too. All right. We're on to the Sunday night game. You said it earlier, the Steelers. So this is Steelers at Vegas. And we know what the line is as of our recording this. You know in your head what the line is. Don't say it out loud yet. Do you know what this game opened at on Monday morning before the night game on Monday night?
I swear I don't. I mean, Monday mornings, I just wake up and do push-ups. I have no idea. So.
I mean, body by Skittles. I've seen it, man. I got it.
This is, well, how do you think the back tattoo gets sharp? So,
take a guess what you think the opening line of this game after the
-7.
But
Wait, say it again. Start it over. Start this over.
What do you think the opening line was on Monday?
-6.
-6 who?
Eagles. Oh, no. We're talking about the wrong game. I thought this was minus.
Here's the thing.
-2. -2 Steelers.
Who's we, Kimosabe? I'm talking about the right game.
Look. Listen. I'm ready now.
All right.
And I think I had it at -2 Steelers.
Okay, but that's not my question.
Monday morning.
Monday morning, you Monday morning after we saw the Raiders, but before we saw the Steelers, the line. I'll just tell you. The line was Steelers on the road -1.
I just said -2 Steelers.
Okay,
so
but I wasn't asking for your line. I was asking for what you think the actual Vegas line was on Monday morning.
Oh, yeah, but actually, right around the same. I think I'm smart.
Really wasn't the question, but we're moving on. My point. Stop talking. My point. It opened at -1 for the Steelers on the road, and the line right now, after having gotten their doors blown off in Buffalo, moved 3.5 points in Vegas's favor. Now Vegas is a -2.5. See where I was going? Man, that was really painful.
I do.
But we did get there. And I was trying to agree with your point from much earlier in the show about like the Raiders are actually favored over a team despite looking like garbage against Buffalo. And that just tells you how bad Pittsburgh looked on Monday night. So we can no longer bet this game as though it's the Steelers favored. Now the Raiders are favored by 2.5. What do you think?
How do you do this? How do you keep talking to me? Do you just do it because you have to?
I don't have to. I love it.
Okay, so just asking. I don't know if somebody's forcing you. DraftKings, love you guys. No, but seriously, the Steelers' offense resembles a family gathering of mine, right? Except only the quarterback wears white gloves in this one. We all wear white gloves at my thing because fingerprints and stuff like that. The point being, I had this. I still think Steelers are good. I don't know why. I lived in Pittsburgh for sometimes. I think the Steelers are going to cover, and I still have the -2. So I'm 4.5 points off.
Wow. So this is going to be your most confident game, right?
Well, because you know how we talked about the Browns and maybe like the front's the best? I still think that this front, if we're talking about units, I still think this front seven is the best group in this game by like a far amount. I just think TJ Watt is not going to let a guy named Jimmy hurt him. So,
all right. Remember when I asked you this is your most confident game?
This is it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought so. I'm going to be on the other side. A little drama. I'm going to be on this other side. And you're right. See, the Steeler defense is terrifying, and I am worried about The thing is, though, like I feel like Garoppolo's like super narrow range of outcomes. Like he's probably not going to get his doors blown off by that defense. He's just going to be chicken out and take 3-step drops, right? This is
like Josh Jacobs ran negative. Like all I'm trying to say is like there just are ways I think that this thing just like stuffs and.
Okay, yes, I understand. We disagree, but my opinion is less about the Steeler defense, which I'm admitting to you is terrifying. I get it. But I do think the reason I can live with myself picking the Raiders is that I'm not scared that it's Deshaun Watson getting crazy flustered and messed up and
low floor. I get it. I get it.
Like Garoppolo to me, he's gonna Devontae Adams going to have 80 yards, probably a touchdown. Like, it's going to be funny.
He's Dalton with cologne. He's like Andy Dalton who smells nice.
He is Dalton with cologne. That's very well done. But for me, the reason that I'm picking the Raiders is the other direction. Is just, you said it. I mean, you basically had to pick your stink in this game. Is there a worse looking offense right now than the Steelers? I don't think so.
No, I mean, no, it's Mr. Mittens. Somebody posted a great thing today of an old Roger Ebert review of like Friday the 13th, and he was like, "This is the worst thing I've ever seen," and it was just about the Steelers offense. So it was great. He was like, "It's bloody. There's bodies everywhere."
It's like through 2 games, and granted, 2 good defenses, that's San Francisco and Cleveland, like good defenses.
Right.
So
yeah.
the Raiders don't have that kind
sample.
of defense.
Right.
Maybe I'll eat these words, but I'm going to lay the points. All right, now we are to the Monday games, and you can talk about your beloved Philadelphia Eagles going to Tampa Bay as a 4.5-point favorite.
Not to go back to the last game, but I didn't realize that a guy named Pickett is going to Vegas. That is bad. I didn't think about that. Didn't think about that part. Either way, Eagles -6. Had this at -6. I'm going with the Birds. I feel like the real Eagles show up here. Also, they've had like 13 days off or something. I don't know. I'm not great at math, but like they played on Thursday and they play on Monday, so minus whatever. I don't know if you count the day that happens. That always confuses me. So. But Todd Bowles has been really good against Jalen Hurts in his career. But also, come on, like sometimes Todd Bowles loses his binder. And Baker Mayfield, my theory, again, to go back to 90s or 80s movies, is he swaps souls. Again, Andy Dalton. You know, like those movies where like Tom Hanks like swap souls with Fred Savage or something like that? Maybe Judge Reinhold, maybe? Something like that.
Can I ask you a question? Does Wawa Coffee have a time release?
No. It's more like it's more a patch. It's a transdermal patch.
I was going to say, it seems like you got a hit.
It's what covers my Skittles tattoo, just to bring it full circle.
He does have a Wawa Coffee transdermal patch over his Skittles tattoo. That is true. Dave Piper, by the way, that's if you get that whole thing on a thumbnail, that'd be great.
But that's also, if you think about it, because it's a recent tattoo, that's also where the most exchange will happen because I'm still healing.
Right.
So
wow, it's a recent tattoo? I really thought. Did you get the old one replaced?
Well, it's a touch-up.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Yeah.
You have to have them touched up or it looks like some like orange fairy on your back. So that said, I'm going with the Eagles regardless of the fact that Baker Mayfield has been in the dark arts of soul swapping. So there you go.
All right. We're different on this one too. At some point when you're looking at a team early in the season and you're saying, wow, through just a very short sample size, I see a difference.
Sure.
As a evaluator, you have 2 choices. One is to say, listen, I trust it, and there are always bumps in the road, and I think this is a get right kind of situation, and it absolutely could be, and we might reconvene and think, yep, they got right. Or you can go, okay, this could be the trend. They're just not quite the same team that they were last year. Yeah. So I guess for this week, I don't think one of us is right and one of us is definitely wrong. I don't think there's a right way to think about this, but clearly you're going in the direction of they're going to figure it out. They had some time off. They got some stuff together. DeAndre Swift, they ran, they adjusted well. And I'm saying, eeps, I'm just a little scared. And speaking of defensive fronts that are good, guess what? Like you said, Todd Bowles, Tampa's defensive front is really, really good. This line actually opened at 5.5. And has dipped to 4.5. So for what it's worth, the market is kind of on my side of things. I'm Tampa plus 4.5. Did you have one last Eagles thought before we get to our final game?
No, just go Birds.
Okay, I thought you were trying to say something.
Can I say it with an accent?
We're just doing the accent. Okay, the other Monday night game. Can we stop, please? I mean, it's fun that when one game is bad, you can go to a different game. Again, consider my situation. I have to watch them all. Having them be on late is not helping. I mean, it's not that late here, I guess. I'm okay. Right. The Rams, they are not going to be on my television during the day on Sunday as they always are. Instead, they're going to be on everyone's television on Monday night. It's a rematch of a Super Bowl from 2 years ago. I guarantee you that angle won't get played up very hard by the Monday night crew. Fortunately, I think this is Buck and Aikman, so they'll just do it once and then leave it alone. If it was Tirico, oh my God. Rams at Cincinnati. I have to assume this line is assuming that Burrow plays, but the line is Bengals -2.5.
I'm still buying the Bengals, I suppose. It was so close. I had it -3.5. I thought it would be on the other side of the kick, in the sense that like it'd be tougher to bet. some level of, yes, the doubt is there for Burrow, but I also just think like it's the idea that the Bengals are good beyond him. I would hope they haven't shown that yet. But what I mean is like they had this creative defense, but I suppose at some point I have to account for the fact they lost all of their good defensive backs. But I'm still doing this regardless of the issues. I just think not only is it the fact that they need this, like has to be some sense of desperation. That seems like kind of bull BS angle that has a crutch on it, and I'm holding the soft part of the crutch. And I'm like, oh my God, this still hurts, even though there's a pad. That said, I seriously just think it's what I really mean by that. I just think it's the better overall roster, even if Barrow is dealing with his stuff. I think they're going to find a way to grind this one out, and I think they're going to cover. So that's my point.
Me too. I have it at 3. I wouldn't want to bet it in a substantial way.
I'm not comfortable with this one. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's partly because of Burrow, and from the benefit of recording this several days in advance. Mm-hmm. Like, we just don't have, as of our recording this right now, we just don't have the information. I think we've just assumed that it's going to be okay, but I mean, he heard it. He was on the touchdown pass. He threw it to T. Higgins in desperation. It got them within one score. Yeah. It was the very, very end. He heard it. He limped off. He was Theragunning it on the sideline. They tried an onside kick. We don't know if he would come out if they recovered this onside kick. So, like, we really don't know.
Yeah. I mean, usually he would have kicked the kick, so that's kind of a tell. So
we have no incentive they have no incentive to tell us the truth about it. So again, I mean, it does feel like we're mutual on a bunch of like hook lines where you're like, they can at least win by a field goal. You're only making it 2.5. Cool. That tends to be the public side of things. And we're the fish apparently this week. All right. I think we established what your best bet is. Am I correct? Once again, I'm going to see if I can get a succinct answer. Is it in fact the Steelers over the Raiders?
It's not. I'd like that bet. No, come on. I like that bet, but really it's the Eagles. I just think the Eagles are the better team. I do actually like – I'm going to do some parlays, I swear, on DraftKings. I will even post them on the
all Pennsylvania. All Pennsylvania parlay.
Yes. It's the Pennsyltucky, because that's what's between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. It's Pennsyltucky. But what I will say is I'm parlaying them several times. I might even do a Wong teaser if anyone knows what that is. It's actually a real thing. It's like a strategy where you take small lines and you tease them to like your favor. So especially because you tease them to the and both lines are close enough that I can tease them outside. As for example, I'd rather be, I'd obviously lower to 2.5 for the Eagles, and I would like to push the Steelers back into like maybe getting, 6 or something like that. So whatever.
And I get it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. If you combine them, you lose twice when you do that, but if you combine them, you get a better payout. Yes.
That's what I meant. And so the threshold for payoffs is closer. Long story short, sorry to bother people, but go Birds.
Go Birds and Steelers, I believe. But the number 1 pick is actually the Eagles.
Yes.
I got
it. Yes.
I got it. Mine is going to be the Vikings. Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this again. But I'm going to do the Vikings.
Chargers, Vikings games. I am so proud of you.
I mean, a lot of these lines, like my predicted line is 2 points away, 1 point away, a half a point away. This one was 4.
It's like
this was 4 points away. So yeah, I'm gonna just pick. I'm gonna trust the instinct that told me I thought the line would be 5, and in fact it's 1.
It's like I'm gonna invite Taylor Swift to my birthday party. So let's see what happens.
Shut up, Jim. All right. Well, so we want to know down in the comments what your favorite bet of all these lines that we just mentioned. As we do every week, we'll pick someone out who gets it right. We'll give them a shout out. We'd shout out JTZ123 again for getting the Buccaneers right last week. That's going to do it. We wrapped it up. We made it through. I think Jim needs a blood transfusion because he's got a little caffeine problem.
Yeah. I think it's like an Epsom salts and Skittles is going to be my thing. So.
Oh my God.
I don't Not bath salts. Everybody calm down. Calm down. So.
All right. We've done it. Thank you to DraftKings. Again, if you want to sign up with the code HarrisTube, it helps us out. If you've never signed up and you watch the show, you want to just like make one $5 bet, you get $200 in free bonus bets to mess around with, please do use the code Harris too, because that lets them know that sponsoring this goofy show works. We hope you had a few laughs. I want to thank Jim for being hilarious. I want to thank Dave for being incredible and playing hurt, because Dave is really sick and he's
a Browns fan. So come on.
And he's a Browns fan, so just by definition playing hurt. Thanks to Dave for producing as well. Thank you most of all for watching. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Thanks so much for watching. Please, please, please smash that like button, write a comment, tell us who else you'd like to see us review film on, and of course, best of all, please subscribe to our channel and then click that little bell above the subscribe button and you'll be notified whenever we post a new video.